Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So recently I haven't been doing too well, therefore I haven't really kind of posted too many news update videos and discussions about them, but today I'm just gonna try and mix and mash in a few more important kind of like different things in today's video. So first things first, we have the January announcement, and basically we know at this point already that the two new champions is going to be Nova and Squirrel Girl. The animations are already kind of available and they definitely do look quite exciting and interesting. I'm definitely pleasantly surprised to see that these two new champions are not at the top of prestige leaderboard. Therefore it's going to feel much more free to kind of whether to go for them hard or not, and you can actually do it whether you like the champion or not. You can make this decision now, whereas with like Dr. Doom and Silver Surfer, both of these champions quickly flew to the top of the prestige list and you basically kind of had to get them if you are somebody that is concerned about prestige. But now these two champions, we will be again purely be able to judge them on their abilities, on how they feel, how they play, how useful they are, and then make our decision on that. And so I'm definitely happy that Kabam isn't continuing to push prestige over there. So we're gonna have this Squirrel Girl side event. We're basically gonna be collecting acorns. It still doesn't have too many details over there, but the gist of it is kind of like that if you play well, you can keep fighting till you choose not to, and then you carry these corns over, and then basically you're going to be able to use these acorns to purchase some items. So it does seem like a fairly decent idea. Might be something new that we have never seen. Hopefully it does execute itself quite well, and it does feel like this month's side event is actually kind of something really fun, new and fresh, because in all honesty, all of the side events last year pretty much were a rehash of something that had been done before. They were either grindfest or they were either something else, but there was nothing ever kind of like new. And this Squirrel Girls event kind of has a feeling that it might potentially offer you to kind of a feeling of dungeons, I suppose, just single player dungeons where you possibly can carry through for as long as you can, and that lets you collect more of these acorns. So that would be quite cool. But the big piece of news and the main kind of center point of this video is the Abyss of Legends. So this has been really long awaited piece of content. Labyrinth of Legends is severely outdated. Labyrinth of Legends, I believe, came out nearly 3 years ago now, or close to it. So we have went a really large period of time without like the centerpiece endgame players content, because also in the time Labyrinth of Legends, because of the health pools and because of the time requirement, there are many endgame players who still haven't really explored it all. And at this point, there is not really that much stress to explore Labyrinth, because these rewards in Labyrinth have severely outdated. Basically, you get a 12 tier 2 alphas, which is nice to have, obviously, and a generic 5-star awakening gem, which are still relevant and present in the endgame. But there are no tier 5 rank up materials, which is like kind of what the game is currently all about. Therefore don't really have to explore it. It's more like an optional thing right now. But all in all, I think Labyrinth was a quite big success. I think it was one of those pieces of content that is there always for people to challenge themselves. It was by far the hardest thing in the contest by the time it came out, largely due to the health pools, because the fights themselves, let's face it, they're not the worst ones. Like if you go in Act 6, there are many much more challenging nodes and node combinations than we have in Labyrinth. The two big things about the Labyrinth was obviously the evade that is ever so present and ever so annoying, and the health pools. Those health pools continuously kind of like kept absolutely discarding a large chunk of champions from exploring this piece of content, because if the champion didn't hit hard, it was basically unrealistic to bring it in as your main clearer. Now there have been some extreme examples of like rank 4 magic doing a labyrinth path or things like that. Obviously when you can do something with these champions doesn't mean you should. You can make life much harder for yourself, but that basically kind of dictated that in order for champion to be viable in Labyrinth of Legends, he had to have like exceptionally high damage output. We're talking Aegons, Star-Lords, Ghosts, to a degree. Proxima suffered a lot from the damage cap, which is also something that I hope we will not see in here. And so there goes kind of like my two predictions, two theories, and you could say also two best case scenarios. That either A, I hope Kabam doesn't really up the amount of health, because current Labyrinth of Legends, which is 3 years old content, still kind of dismisses a large amount of champions to be used in there just because of their damage output. If they don't hit hard, they're realistically not viable Labyrinth options. You're always going to be looking at champions that hit hard due to the health pools. So I think and I hope, and I can only beg Kabam to keep the health pool the same, or maybe even decrease them slightly. It can make the fights more interesting, but fights more challenging, but it doesn't have to be 10 million health pool, which majority of us kind of expect it to be. Like, let's face it, we do expect there to be some 5 and 2.5 million health pools, or 5 and 7 million health pools. It's gonna be crazy. But if it is that big, if there are such a crazy health pools, and the second best case scenario is that there is no damage cap. Because up until this day, basically we have champions in our rosters that we cannot completely unleash anywhere. We're talking Proxima Midnights, we're talking Sunspots, so on and so forth. There are many champions that are capable of delivering incredibly big damage numbers, but currently we don't have a single piece of content where we could actually use those champions. Like Guillotine 2099, she is able to stack up her combo up until 600 in combo meter. Now, there's not a single piece of content, as far as I'm aware, where maxed out Guillotine, let's say in Suicides, could reach a 600 hit combo. And that's it, right? So hopefully this, if they do go the route of introducing these really, really large health pools, then at the same time I do hope that there's absolutely no damage restriction, no weight, so we're able to keep our combo meters, and we can just see the pure brutality of Proxima Midnight, Guillotine 2099, so on and so forth. Now also an interesting kind of thing is going to be how they replace the enrage timers, because I think according to the leaked information, and that is just that, leaked information, it's not confirmed, we do not know whether it's going to be like that in the game or not, but instead of enrage timers, they're basically going to be replaced with kind of like hit counters, and they basically count the amount of hits you land or receive or block, and you start with X amount of hits available to you, and basically when you run out of these hit charges, then you kind of die. Like now, when enrage timer expires, opponents go unstoppable, unblockable, you get a huge power gain, and basically it's Kabam's button to tell you that you have had enough fun and it's your time to die, right? So I think in this variant, it's going to be kind of the same, just with hit counters. So the champions that do kind of like spam a lot of hits are not going to be the best choices, and that is going to make possibly Aegon suffer quite a bit in this variant. Also, possibly if Carnage would be a really great option, then I think Carnage will not really be viable, because he amasses his hits so quickly, and the beauty of Carnage is the fact that you can keep spamming your special attacks, which are multi-hit, and you can keep being aggressive and you get those bleeds on, but your combo meter goes up incredibly fast. So there might be, again, automatically a chunk of champions that, even though they are capable of dealing a lot of damage per second or a lot of damage per minute, they won't really be as viable. At the same point, it might mean that champions like Colossus or something else that does deliver a lot of damage in a very small amount of hits might be slightly more usable, you could say. But there's definitely not a lot of details yet around this event. It's also another big debating point is going to be to see what kind of rewards are offered there. At this point, basically I expect there to be several full tier 5 class catalyst crystals, obviously a bunch of tier 5 basic crystals, possibly a 6-star awakening gem, hopefully a generic one, and a bunch of 6-star 6-stones. So I kind of expect it to be more or less a copy paste from Labyrinth rewards, except from 5-star stuff you're gonna get everything for 6 stars, and that would be that. I could make a guess that you possibly might earn 1 full tier 5 CC for completing it and 2 more for exploring it, or something of the sort. But either way, definitely will be a large point of interest to all the players community to see what's going to happen there. And now I am aware to the fact that Abyss of Legends is definitely not going to entice vast majority of the player base initially, because I'm fully expected to be really crazy piece of content which will absolutely scare the living pants off majority of the player base, but eventually people do grow in to these contents. Same with Labyrinth of Legends. Many kind of casual everyday players at this point have explored Labyrinth of Legends with very little cost because of how champions have come out, and I kind of expect obviously the same thing to happen with Abyss. Initially the exploration is probably going to be extremely expensive, measurable in kind of like 10 or tens of Odins, and then the price is kind of gradually going to go down based on what kind of champions we have available and whether we already have rank 3s and stuff like that. So there's going to be definitely an interesting thing to observe over next year or so, what kind of people are going in the Labyrinth and what kind of like costs come out of it, because the more we know about it, the more tips and tricks and guides and information is available about Abyss, the easier it's going to be to complete it. Initially I expect it to be almost kind of impossible. Now another big thing I do hope about Abyss of Legends is that they have done and moved on from that locked map thing. That locked map is extremely annoying. I don't think it particularly helps anyone. I don't think it makes anything more interesting. And what's worse about it is within a week or within 2 weeks of whatever content coming out, there are these community made maps available. And with that whole map lock thing kind of loses its meaning because you have all the information available already. The only difference is that it is more annoying to go to some sort of third-party site or keep a picture printed out in front of you so you can orientate yourself. And it's really, I think, misses the mark in a sense that you know where you're going anyways. Maybe not for the first 5 or 10 or 50 people, whatever, but if you're doing Abyss a month in and if you have a map in front of you, and there will be a map that the community makes, you will know where you're going anyway. So I don't really see a point of them even attempting to do that locked camera screen where you can't see where you're going. But yeah, that's it. There's still obviously a lot of things unclear. As far as I know, Abyss of Legends is landing on 15th of January, if I'm not mistaken. So another point is definitely we need to compliment Kabam on being able to keep us busy, because pretty much every month now for like last half a year we have had something going, whether it's a new chapter of Act 6, whether it's a new variant, whether it's, in this case, it's going to be Abyss, so on and so forth. So it's and you can immediately notice when there is a kind of gap month where we have no great content coming out. That's why we all said that October was so dull and boring, because there was nothing kind of like special coming out of it. Then in November we got the 6.3, in December we got new variant, in January we're getting Abyss of Legends, and I'm sure in February we're going to be getting 6.4 or something else. So I do have to kind of like take my hat off to Kabam for keeping this content kind of rolling on a fairly stable basis, and that definitely does feel that the game can keep you busy if you choose to partake in these high-end quests. Now, before we finish the video, a couple of things. There are obviously some bug fixes and improvements coming. The one thing that kind of makes me a bit suspicious is Quake synergy with Black Widow to work with all buff types. Now, I do hope they don't mess the Quake and Black Widow synergy interaction with Domino, because that realistically, for an endgame player, is the only way, place, or reason why you use this synergy in the first place. And even if everything else around it was kind of broken, let's face it, nobody really used that Quake synergy, except for when it came to dealing with Dominoes. So there is a little bit of, not panic, but you could say cautiousness, keeping an eye on Quake buzz. I really do hope they keep that interaction working as it has been to date, and basically the fact that Quake plus Black Widow means that Quake can Quake all the dominoes in the world. Hope they're not going to break that, because quite often that has been the case where they attempt to fix something or change something, and all of a sudden a very vital part just seems to be broken, like Medusa's armor shatter and stuff like that. Armor shatter still hasn't been fixed. Also, it is concerning that we don't see any update on Vision Arcus here. So I would have liked to have some sort of conclusion, because currently, for instance, myself, I have Vision Arcus, which I'm debating on taking to rank 2, but he also currently is bugged. and I am unable to kind of like make the final decision if I don't know how he is going to work after the bug fix. And Kabam seems to be in no rush to fix him, therefore I cannot possibly make a decision whether to rank him up, and that is quite annoying and frustrating. Same with these champion balance update changes. They were meant to come out in December, but they have been pushed over to January and February, I believe. We're gonna get some information in January, and then February they're going live or something of the sort. So that is another thing that's extremely kind of frustrating, to keep waiting in this kind of limbo, what to do with Call Obsidian, what to do with this champion. Is Human Torch getting buffed or not? Is Annihilus getting buffed or not? So we don't know nothing at the moment, and we have been waiting for a really long time at this point. And we still have no kind of concrete information. That is quite frustrating. Now they're fixing Taskmaster, which is an awesome thing, because I am quite a big fan of Taskmaster, and they're basically... He was broken to the point where his ability accuracy reduction abilities did not work. Now they have been fixed seemingly, so that's good news. Warlock fixed an issue where techno-organic virus could decrease all ability accuracies, not just offensive ability accuracies. They have been trying to fix this for 2 or 3 months in a row, and I think they have failed miserably to date. So I'm not making a big fuss of it. This is quite an old information. Obviously, it would be nice if they had simply kept him as he was, because I don't think he was overly broken or anything. And they could have just amended the ability description to increase all abilities instead of meaning the offensive ones, especially because there is this confusion in the community which ones are offensive, which ones are defensive, or under which conditions offensive abilities become defensive abilities. Because when you take a look at something like Limbo, for instance, Limbo can activate when you're striking magic. At that point, that would technically be a defensive ability, right? But it can also activate when she's striking you, and at that point it's technically offensive ability. So the same ability, where does it stand? So there's a lot of kind of like confusion in the community which abilities exactly belong where. So I do hope that at some point in future Kabam maybe comes out with a list of saying like, these are offensive abilities, these are defensive abilities, this is how you can distinguish them, because I've been long saying we really need a rule book in this game. We're not closer to getting one, but we are constantly seeing these terms kind of like tossed about, this is for that, this is for that, and it's a lot is left open to interpretation, and whenever anything is left open for interpretation, players always somehow get shafted when it comes to fixing things. But yeah, so that's just a wish there. And yeah, I think that's more or less about it. There are some other changes with some of those global nodes for war and things. But all in all, so January is basically going to be the month of Abyss. That's definitely going to be a central aspect. We're going to be jumping in Abyss of Legends, maybe immediately, maybe... who am I kidding? I'm going to be jumping it as soon as it comes out. I'm going to load a couple of audience on my account and see how we do. Just to have like the first experience with it, and then obviously for the next couple of months I'm going to be trying to upload as much Abyss footage as I can, if my roster is even capable of competing in it, or maybe it will purely require rank 3 champions, who knows. But either way, that will pretty much do for today's video. I think I kept you a bit longer than I wanted to, but either way, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Abyss of Legends, what do you think about month of January, about these new changes, what kind of expectations you have from rewards in Abyss, and all in all, pretty much that will do for today's video, and I wish everybody happy holidays and Merry Christmas and what have you not. But yeah, see you guys next time. See ya.